let's talk about something which many adults like to do, is drink wine, beer, cider, whiskey, and do not drink and drive. Spending about $300 to $400 a month, don't tell Tracy, on wine. That's a lot of money. And I read history books. They've been making wine and alcohol for thousands and thousands of years. You know, the first caveman probably had a bunch of soiled grapes and they ate them. The elephants in Africa eat soiled, fermented amarula berries, and the elephants get drunk. It's amazing. There's a movie on it. You could probably even see it on YouTube. So what I started to do a few weeks ago, I first thought about buying one of these expensive kits. You know, is $50 for a barrel of a big container. For, I don't want to. We live in a 30 square meter cottage. We haven't got room for a big container of fermenting drink, and it stinks when it ferments. So next thing I thought, well, this is a bottle of wine. This was a low alcohol. Low alcohol is 9.5%, which in my book is high. That's a beer is 4.5, and this is low alcohol for 9.5. See, 9.5. So you want to make your own drink. Now, I buy this 2.5 liters. 2.5 liters. 2.5 liter apple juice. I haven't worked out if I'm making wine or I'm making cider, but I like cider. But cider's about 4.5%, about the same as beer alcohol. I haven't got a measure, but my wife's profession is food. You know, she designs food. So she said it's much higher alcohol, but it's not as high as wine. I've been doing this for about a month now. Let me show you what I do. I've had some funny experiences. Wine is basically, or any alcohol is basically fermented sugar or fermented starch. Simple. I get a non-sophisticated pouring measure and I pour in that much sugar. This much sugar. Then you got to have yeast. Now, if you go into these shops, they have all these expensive things, but I didn't want to spend anything, so I just went to the local supermarket, which has got a no-name brand, which is Pam's all-purpose active yeast. Remember, this is not rocket science. In Iran, in a place called Shiraz, they used to make wine before the Islamic Revolution. In Egypt, they've made wine. Apparently, scientists have tried to make it, and it tastes terrible. The Greeks, the Romans, the French all make wine. It's nothing hard. I've got this little spoon that comes out of a creatine. I do eat healthy. That comes out of a creatine container. That's how much creatine I'm supposed to take a day. So I put about half of this in, like that. Then I write the date on 17th. Today's date is 17th of the 11th, 2025. All right. Then This is what I do. I bought this from the local Chinese shop. Was it Chinese or Indian? Indian shop. So I've got it here. I've got a little spoon of yeast, this much sugar, which raises the sugar level of the apple juice. And I just pour that in here. You know, if you, when I started doing this at the park run, Barry, a friend of ours, he makes wine. He tries to make cherry wine because cherries are quite plentiful around this region. And they were telling me all the things I can and can't do. When you go buy a fruit juice, look onto it, what the ingredients are. And sometimes it's quite hard to read what the ingredients are because they use scientific words. But this one has apple juice concentrate 99.8%. 99.8%. And that sounds like nearly all 0.2% is something else. And the rest is 330 food acid, which is normally a lemon base thing for a preservative, which is technically natural, and it's vitamin C and flavor. So 0.2% is natural preservative, which is probably lemon or a lemon type concentrate, which gives the vitamin C. I tried to do kiwi fruit and they had a natural stabilizer in there, and I looked up ChatGPT what the stabilizer did for wine production. They said the problem with the stabilizer, which was a natural stabilizer, it makes the drink go cloudy. Anyway, let's carry on here for a sec. So we've got our natural apple juice, and Kerry is a cheap company here in New Zealand. It's one of us part of Kerry International, probably is, or could be Kerry. And so you got a healthy-ish apple juice. I could go on. This is not healthy, but it's healthy-ish. Now, I put some water in. All right, I put about this much water in. All right, that much water in. Put the top on. Shake it up. I actually think I put a little bit too much water in. This is not scientific. I'll take a bit of water out, which actually still leaves most of the salt. There we go. Put a bit more, a little bit more yeast. A little bit more yeast. A bit worried about I took out too much yeast. Didn't matter how much sugar, but it mattered how much yeast. Next thing I put in is the apple juice. I should be doing it in this kitchen, but we have a galley kitchen. And I fill it to here. You've got to have a little bit of atmospheric, got to have a little bit of space when you're making this. Put this down here. Oh, magic ingredient. I started putting a little bit of honey in. The reason is a bit more sugar. If you put too much in, the alcohol content really jumps high. Delicious. But I like the extra little taste of the honey. New Zealand honey. It's 100% honey. A lot of honeys, if you're not from New Zealand, a lot of the honeys from supermarkets aren't actually honey. They're just reconstituted sugar. So you got to check that out. shake this up again to make sure that the just get the sugar to dissolve a little bit. Helps with the fermenting project. Now it takes approximately 72 hours for the fermenting to be really finished, but I've got a bottle over there I made 2 weeks ago approximately. I'll read it to you. Shake this up. Now, remember, I've put the address 17th of 11th, 2022, because if you make 1 or 2 bottles a day, you got to know when you're going to do it. So it's approximately 2 weeks for it to become, have an alcohol content. Now, at first, I left the top on like this. And then I picked up one bottle like this, and it all came to pieces. It just didn't explode, but the whole neck just crashed down. Another time, I did it. You got to leave the top off. The problem with leaving the top off, it lets oxygen into this area, and that oxygen kills the carbon dioxide. What is it, carbon dioxide? But it kills the fermenting growth. So you got to leave the top on. But so I would open and close this to let the air out, but then it all just bubble over like champagne. And so that's not what you want to do. So you need to leave this top off a little bit. Now, because of COVID, we have a serious bag of these. Not many, like another 50 or so. You buy it. We bought them commercially because of COVID. And then you put a rubber band around like this. Then you I put this in a corner in the garden. So if it does break open, it doesn't fill the house up with, how do you call it, smell of fermentation. My tripod is falling over. There. This is one of the mistakes. This fell over outside. This is a mineral water juice or something. You know, it doesn't matter what it is. I just took it out of recycling from our neighbour. It fell over and I had the top loose. Whoa! See? Still fermenting. See how it's got all bubbly? Because it's still fermenting. I put this there on the 14th, 3 days ago. It fell over and drained out. So since it was outside, it didn't fill up the house. One time we took off one of these bottle tops about a month ago when I was just starting, and it was a little bit tight like that. And all the liquid ended up on the roof, and we weren't at our home, we were at another home, and so, but the other person wasn't worried, it just cleaned it off easily, luckily. But it just went woof, like 90% of the bottle juice went on the roof. So leave the top off, like this, and just store it up outside. Make sure it stays flat and doesn't drain out. This is, I made this on the 28th of October. It's been sitting outside since then. I've only just brought it in. Montana bottle. Remember, I had a glove on I had this glove on top of it. And let's see how it pours out. Like that. Now, you're supposed to leave it for 2 weeks or 2 months for it to become clear. Who cares? Ernest Hemingway said that. You buy expensive wine to drink with your friends, and drink wine cheap wine to drink by yourself. Ernest Hemingway is quoted as saying this, and Ernest Hemingway is the man of mans, the woman of womans. He led a life. So, hope what I showed you is interesting. And I'm going to start doing these all the time. And I'll put a note on this bottle in 2 weeks or so. We'll open it up together and have a drink. Kanpai, as they say in Japan. Kanpai. Hey, anyway, give it a go. It's only going to cost you, what, $1? Cheers.